Hello, welcome to Career Mindset. I'm Derek and I'm with Nick. And we're going to talk about a very interesting profession. And I'm going to actually leave Nick to explain what it is because it's quite unique and it's very, very good. So, Career Mindset basically roots the ordinary people's careers, and it brings out an understanding of how they became in terms of the journey that they've taken to become who they are. So it's just to inspire people, it's to enlighten you, and it's looking at really careers across the globe. So we're in the UK today, where we're in Bedfordshire. So we're just going to chat with Nick and see how he became who he is. So the actual title or the profession of Nick is geophysicist.
You just had to read that out from a little.
I had to.
No,
yeah, I don't have a clue. So before we start, Nick, can you please explain what geophysicist does or is?
Sure.
I don't have a clue.
No, that's fine. So I am a geophysicist. A geophysicist is someone who uses physical phenomena to explore perhaps like the Earth's subsurface. It can range from anything from monitoring earthquakes, which is quite common,
Wow.
and all the way to, you might have heard of Time Team, the UK TV programme that used geophysical techniques at times to image the subsurface with regards to archaeological sites. So I've used geophysics in order to explore for oil and gas.
Oh, wow.
And now more recently, I've done it to explore, or should I say, to help with the foundations of offshore wind farms. So I'm going to try and explain what I do. I'm actually a seismic data processor. So I'm going to put a picture in front of the screen and I'm going to ask Derek what it is. So here we go.
Okay.
So
this
what's that, Derek?
looks like a fetus, baby.
Right, yeah.
For birth.
Yeah. And so what was used to make that image?
Ultrasound.
Very, very good. So it was you created a non-intrusive image of the womb and the baby therein using sound energy. And so I've been using the same. We call it seismic, but in essence it's just sound waves. And we record the reflections of those sound waves on different rock layers, and then record those and process those in order to provide an image of what's beneath the ground level, if you like. So, for example, for offshore wind farms, and this is an example from the North Sea, so I'm going to try and bring this up.
Yeah.
Whoa. See how that looks. Right, so the blue level at the top is the seabed. Then you've got some layers of muds and sands, and then at about this level, if you can see my finger, about just below halfway down, you start to hit the rocks that are dipping in a certain direction. And for scale, I've given a little man here. There he is.
Yeah, I can see him.
So he's much smaller in terms of scale than that baby picture, right? So everything is scaled up. In this instance, we're looking at like tens of meters, and when I started in oil and gas exploration, we were looking at kilometers down from the seabed. So yeah.
Whew. So
that's what I do.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very unique, because I don't think many people actually know what it is or if there's such a career. But let's take it from the beginning, Nick. I mean, how did you get started?
Sure.
Where did this come from?
Well, my story is that I, at A-levels, I did maths, physics and geography.
Okay.
And out of those three, I suppose my main passion was for geography, physical geography.
Okay.
And we can talk about my natural interest in that later. But I was going to pursue a degree in geography, physical geography, but my physics teacher found out. And when I told him, oh yeah, I'm going to do physical geography, he literally shouted at me and went, that is foolhardy, there's no jobs in that. And sorry if you're interested in it. There's no jobs in that. Go back to the careers library and find a better job that, that looks at physics and maths as well. So I went back and I found this thing called geophysics. And I thought, oh, that might be for me. So it all started when I got shouted at by my physics teacher at A-level.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So how long have you been in this profession for?
Okay, yep. So I have been a geophysicist since the year 2000. So that's coming up to 23 years now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, so for a geophysicist, what does a starting salary looks like for an entry?
No, that's fair enough. Well, I mean, I have my own. Well, you're going to find out later. I've got my own company, so I can tell you straight off. So a starting salary is and it will be a graduate. So I guess we'll talk about that as well. Is around. We put it in the bracket of £30,000 to £35,000 a year.
Okay. Okay, and more of a senior person or?
Wow, that's a great question. So you get options. Most likely you will work for a larger geophysical firm. Okay. So they will have large seismic processing shops, as we call them. There's several in the UK, not many. So you would be able to progress either up a technical ladder, so you move up in terms of technology, providing technical support, and so on. And you get names like chief geophysicist and principal geophysicist. And those sort of roles, they can be in the order of 80, 1,000 plus, really. I mean, they're quite, yes, they can earn a lot, especially you'll find that, I suppose it's a bit like, like the Premier League in football. Yeah. If you're in the Premier League, you earn a lot. You could be just as good a footballer working in Brazil, but you wouldn't earn that much. That's true. Right? So there's certain geographical areas where that skill, in this instance football, is more is considered of more value, right? So it has a higher value. So same with geophysics and oil and gas exploration. If you want to earn the bucks, you would go to one of the areas geographically where you're most in demand. Right. If it's going to be like Houston, Texas, or the Middle East, So if you go to those places, you can be earning, way into the 100 plus. And that's. So I've mentioned technical. The other option is you can go into the sort of man management area, and they would be similar sort of salaries if you were running, say, a team of 40 plus. Seismic processors, then again you'd be in the 80,000 plus bracket.
Fantastic. So let's move on swiftly. In terms of challenge, what do you find challenging about your career?
Well, this is a key area here. So if you're going to be a geophysicist, if you're going to be a seismic data processor, then you're going to love challenges because your day-to-day job is, in essence, problem solving with data. Right? Okay. And you're going to be the sort of person who just thrives on that. So in terms of challenges, there are, and that's the whole point. Now, I would say they're great challenges because they're data related. So data may provide problems, but how do I put it? Does as it's told, right? It's not like a human who just don't, unpredictable, right? Absolutely. So from that point of view, it's challenging, but it's a good challenge. In essence, what you're doing is problem solving. So it's good to have a natural interest in it, to have a natural fascination with, in my instance, it's the Earth's subsurface, so the geology and the structural geology of that. It's important to be fascinated by that.
Excellent. So in terms of training, what type of training do you need to get into it?
Sure. So Well, this is a great question. So, in general, you will do a degree in either straight geophysics, which is what I did.
Okay.
So I went to Lancaster University and did my first degree there. Or you can do something related, and that would be perhaps physical geography, physics, or maths.
Okay.
And then there are options to take that forward or progress that. So I did a master's degree, and then you could even go to PhD. But I mean, I mentioned that I've started my role, or I started in geophysics, should I say, in year 2000, and I have worked with people who didn't have a degree.
Oh.
So they went straight from A level into this this industry, and so they're starting a bit further back, if that's the right term, but give it 5 years and you wouldn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
When you start, you are learning a lot. It's a lot to take in your head when you start in a seismic processing company. It's great fun, but it's using your head a lot, and so you soon get up to speed, I would say. It is fun. I would say it's fundamental that you have the capacity to take on the concepts of in physics and maths,
right?
And so, for example, I use trigonometry probably on a daily basis.
Really?
Yeah. So I know.
Gosh, I remember that.
Well, exactly. I've got kids. I've got 3 daughters, and they're not keen on maths, and they often go, "Oh, why am I having to learn this?" And who uses this? And I'm kind of like,
I do.
Me. So you have to get your head around those, but you don't have to start from a degree.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to get your foot in the door, don't you?
Absolutely. So all those guys that hated trigonometry, it's actually used.
Yeah. It's used.
So
I use sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1 the other day.
Wow.
I know.
I never.
So yeah,
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. In terms of, obviously, you mentioned a degree. Do you definitely need a degree, or can't somebody come in without a degree?
No, I'm saying that you could come in from A level.
Okay.
You would be starting at a sort of very junior level, but like I said, there's
the key thing is experience.
Yeah. Well, the key thing will be experience. So there are, if you have opportunities whilst you're A level or degree level to get internships, say like a summer holiday internship, and grab that, with all that you can. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
In terms of employment, I think you mentioned you're self-employed.
Well, so yes. So I worked for about 18, 19, 20 years, can't remember what.
Oh, wow.
In a sort of a large company setting, and I progressed my way through to a director level in that.
Okay.
And then some of my colleagues at that company and we at that point decided we were going to set up our own company.
Wow. Okay.
So during the COVID lockdown, seems mad now. But we set up our own company, which is doing what we used to do anyway, seismic processing. But we 5 of us are co-directors of a new company, Rockwave.
Okay.
I'm sure someone's going to put a little thing up there somewhere.
Yeah. It'll be there. It'll be there.
We set that up in year 2000, and now we've grown now to 9 of us, so we've taken on 4 employees. Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Brilliant. So just a side thing, have you taken on professional guys or guys that have just come in? Or
yes, so because we're small, the caliber of staff, and this is not a skill set necessarily, this is just, I would say, and this is a good point for everyone, your character and your grit, especially, is so important, right? I would say that your character trumps skill set, because I would say one leads to the other. If you're a good character and caliber, you will inevitably learn the skills.
Absolutely.
So, we were looking for high caliber staff. So, this is going on the internet, but I'm going to say it anyway. We effectively poached people that we knew were of high caliber from
by
our previous company.
and from your previous, so people you
yeah,
knew.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay,
right.
okay.
And so we
Yeah.
will probably continue to do that, or we will look to do headhunting for a while, I would imagine. But at some point, we will turn to fresh and enthusiastic graduates.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of location where you work, because obviously what you're looking at is under the sea and coastal areas.
Yeah.
Do you travel to these areas at all? Do you go under the sea at all?
I go under
or are
the
you
sea?
in a comfortable office somewhere and all you're doing is pushing computers?
Well, yeah, so I'm a data processor, so the data gets acquired offshore, and then it is sent to our compute center. So I actually use a compute center that is based in just outside of Houston, Texas. So I, from the luxury of my rented office, I log into that computer center on a daily basis. So as long as I've got good internet connection, we're good to go. So I don't visit the offshore sites. But that's in my role in offshore wind farms. But traditionally, in oil and gas, I used to visit sort of the large hubs in oil and gas exploration. So I used to go to Aberdeen a lot. I used to go to Houston, Texas a lot. I used to go to London a lot. I used to go to Amsterdam a lot. That's where Shell are based.
That is interesting.
So, I would visit various hubs around Europe and in the US. Yeah.
Wow. So those that like traveling, then, maybe that fits in nicely.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the seismic data processing companies, a lot of the geophysical companies, they are global in size. So you have the opportunity to move around. Like I had a good colleague, good friend who moved to Perth, Australia for a few years.
Wow.
So there's lots of options.
Okay, so next question is, if you had a chance to go back,
yes,
would you change anything? Would you do anything different?
Well, yeah, we've just talked about moving around. I suppose I did have some options to move around and to up sticks with my family and move to different centres, so like Houston, Texas.
Okay.
There was a sort of opportunity there. It didn't happen in the end. But looking back, then I suppose I wished I could have, taken the time to say, check out and live in Oslo. That would have been fun. And Houston, Texas. And
just for a
Perth,
period of
Australia.
time and then move around that'd been experience.
So I suppose if I was starting again, I would be more proactive in that area.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So lastly, this is the last question now. In terms of advice or comment for, individuals, students, graduates that would like to get into profession, what would your advice be?
Yeah. So I would say that, I'm going to say the first thing is character, right? So don't just develop your skill set in terms of physics, maths, etc.
Sure.
Take a long, hard look at your own character and, find someone, a good friend that you can talk to freely and will give you constructive criticism, which you can trust. And start to work and develop your character. Take that really seriously. I would say that with regards to if you're A-level or at university, take the opportunities that you have to take a summer school internship or something like that, where you get the opportunity to work in a geophysical company, if that's what you want to do. So yes, and is there anything else that I'd suggest? Well, these companies are quite large, as I've said. So yeah, take the opportunity to geographically move around. Take the opportunity to try different roles.
Yeah.
I've mentioned seismic data processing. I've mentioned the technical ladder and the management ladder.
Yeah.
I tried a bit of both.
Okay.
And then I also tried business development for a while. So that was fun because that was using all my skills in geophysics and structural geology and combining that with business acumen and playing around with millions of dollars. So it's quite good fun. There you go. That would be my advice.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Nick, for sharing your experience with us. Hopefully this will encourage, it'll excite, and it'll help transform your thinking regarding embarking into geophysicist.
Oh, geophysics. He managed to sort of say
geophysics. Okay. There are lots of unique and exciting careers around, so don't be fearful to embark into a career of your dreams, or something new, something unique, something different, even if it sounds strange. So all you need really is to renew your thinking regarding the career of your choice. So bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe and like this. Let me know your comments. Let me know if there's questions that you'd like, maybe filled it out. Thank you, and bye for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.